I don't want to do it.
I know.
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it.
It's up until we say, hey, brother, we don't have to do it.
We have to do it then. Hey, brother! And welcome back to another episode of me and Ben reacting to some of our old theories. This week, we thought we would do something really cringy, I guess. I do not want to do it.
I'm not sure why we are doing it. It's if we in the past, we were like, let's go back to some of like our best theories.
The ones that have gotten the most controversy, the ones that have made headlines.
Yes.
That's not what we're doing today. Today, we are going back to the first ever Harry Potter videos we ever made on SuperCarlinBrothers, which was way before we actually even started doing fan stuff. This is before the Pixar theory.
I think this is going to be hard to watch. And I mean, just as a piece of information, all of these videos came out 12 years ago. There can be people watching right now who were not born when these episodes
It is possible, Ben.
went out. And just let me tell you some information. This is going to be 5 videos. The first one is titled Hogwarts and Charts by me. It has 86,000 views, uploaded 12 years ago. You then do the next one, as was the custom. Quidditch makes no sense. 656,000 views.
It's caught some, attention.
Yes. Then back to me, Harry Potter Confessional, 80,000 views. Then we cut back to you. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's it.
No other. I don't know what it's about.
And yet, 498,000 views.
Why?
And then we're going to close out with a video from me titled From Books to Films.
Wow.
Which might be the lowest viewed video on our entire channel with 18,000 views.
So we have 5 videos we're going to react to today. Okay, so the way Super Carlin Brothers was in year 1 was that each of us would have a conversation each day. I would start, and then we would go to Ben, and then me, and then the next week it would flop. So this was a 3-video week for you. So glad for that.
Yeah.
And this was what we called Harry Potter week. Because the hard part was coming up with enough ideas every single week to do. And we were like, hey, Harry Potter week, that'll be 5 easy ideas. And then we got to the end of it. And I think I remember was like, if only we could do more Harry Potter videos.
But we can't. That would be unallowed.
We couldn't let ourselves do that.
All right. So without any further ado, here are Jay and I's first ever 5 videos on the subject of Harry Potter. All right, so we're kicking things off with a classic, Hogwarts and Charts.
Oh boy!
Yeah. Just look at me. Look at the lack of shading between the bottom of my chin and my neck.
You're like a long skin-colored cylinder.
Yeah. Like a tube of skin color. That's horrible. I shouldn't have said it.
You shouldn't have said that on the internet, Ben.
Hopefully it doesn't get cringier.
It's gonna. Let's go!
What is up with all the Super Carlin Brothers viewers being Hufflepuffs?
Immediately calling them out. And I don't even think, is that still true?
But no, I think it's
Ravenclaw. I think it has changed.
I think it's changed throughout the years. I feel like, which has always made sense to me because we're such like a deep diver, and I'm like, that makes sense for the Ravenclaws.
Yeah. Like the overthinker community.
Right.
Here we go.
The old intro. Yep. Trash can lid slam. There it is.
All of that is iMovie sound effects.
Okay, so I can definitely see your point, Jay, where being ambitious under the Slytherin house is definitely a little more useful in data.
Okay, so yeah, right away, I think like you can hear. Okay, here's what I would say during this period of time. I think I'm yelling at the camera.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm like enunciating. I'm being like excitable. And
right.
I mean, look at the face of this man right here.
You are so excitable right there.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're responding to something I must have said in the previous video.
I wonder if that was in defense of Slytherin.
Oh, do you think so?
It could have been.
It could have been. But then, I don't know. Either way, here we go.
They like them being brave in Gryffindor. But somehow the majority of the people who watch/comment on our videos are Hufflepuffs. So now if you'll kindly refer to my phenomenal pie chart,
I mean, look at that. Look at that. That is a phenomenal pie chart, by the way. Those were, you know what though? The jump cuts are like, we still use them today.
We do still use them. It's the amount of like very brief silence in that audio file that you leave in between each of the cuts that it stands out to me.
It does stand out. We wouldn't do that today, but it doesn't, it feels of its time.
It does feel of its time.
It feels like it is from when it's from.
It's a time capsule. Okay, so what do we have here? So we have Slytherin 17%, Hufflepuff 37%, Ravenclaw 32%, and Gryffindor 14%.
Oh man, so the smallest amount of Gryffindor. I think what happened is that people said what house they were in the comments.
Okay.
Right?
So that's what I'm pulling from here.
Or maybe you'll explain it. Let's see.
You'll see that 37% of Super Carlin Brother viewers fell into the Hufflepuff house. Now, Hufflepuffs only barely edged out Ravenclaws, but still are 30.
I can't help but feel like I was ending that sentence as if, you all agree this is nonsense,
It's ridiculous!
Shout out to my puffs.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
7% of you actually afraid of sheets? Just in case you didn't know.
That, are you afraid of sheets? That is a reference to I think it's a College Humor video. I don't know. There is a video where it's I'm a Hufflepuff, and it's as if they're filming a one of those college videos to try and get you to come to Hogwarts, and they're find out what house you're in at Hogwarts, and it's I'm a Ravenclaw. I'm smart.
Yes.
And then they get to the Hufflepuff, and then she's I'm a Hufflepuff! And they're you gotta say your thing! And then she keeps coming up with things, and one of them's I'm afraid of sheets!
I'm afraid of ghosts. And sheets with holes in them. And regular sheets.
Friends, follow this link. I find it to be an interesting phenomenon. Not only is the least noteworthy house in the series the most—
Oh man! just dumping on the puffs over there.
Yeah, this is, and honestly, it's to say that the Hufflepuffs are the least noteworthy, I don't even know if it's that
that's true.
Because, the Ravenclaws probably have the least amount of representation, on page.
They got, Luna is at least part of the core 6,
there is
but, there's Cedric, Yeah.
Yeah, there's Cedric.
Yeah. But you're more familiar with more
There was
Hufflepuff.
Cedric.
Cedric!
There was Cedric, exactly. Oh my god.
Prominent amongst you guys, but the most noteworthy house is the least selected. I'm not gonna lie, making that chart felt—
Oh, you feel like you cut yourself off a little there. The most noteworthy house is the least. So you're saying Gryffindor is the most noteworthy.
Okay.
Damn good. So hold on to
Oh,
your seats.
whoa!
Excessive chart use.
Yeah, dude. Look at your epic little iMovie animation there. With music and everything.
I am physically sweating. I can't. Why am I so close to the camera? Anyway, continue.
Look, I like how we cut your chin off.
Yeah.
I noticed about the Wizarding World is that so few people seem to be a part of it. Think about it. Harry has 4 other guys in his house for his year. Neville, Seamus, Ron, and Dean. So 5 total. And I'm not 100% sure, but let's go ahead and say that the girls is the same. So we've got 10 new students per house.
Look at that little, hanging frame there.
Yeah, we would never leave. What is this chart even depicting? They all have the same amount.
I think that they all have the same amount. I think you're saying that if each house has the same amount per year.
Okay.
I think you're about to do Harry Potter math.
You seem like you're being rather generous with me right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hogwarts at any given point in time. So I'm sure after the 4 founders put their business plan together for Hogwarts, they were waltzing into Gringotts.
I like took a breath and put their business plan together for Hogwarts.
Their first loan, all young and confident, they probably brought a chart that looked something like this. This would show the 40 students per year growth over 7 years for a total of 280 students. From my recollection, there is no tuition required to attend Hogwarts, and they do of course have a headmaster, professors, groundskeeper, and at least 1 janitor that they have on staff. So with no revenue stream,
there's no way we would be able to skate past Filch without making fun of the entire absurdity of his character, or pointing out that he is a poltergeist.
Absolutely.
In a modern day video.
Yeah. So, but I guess I can clearly see that this is somebody who just graduated with a business degree and is also very I've already brought up a loan and projections. And, this was the mindset that my head was in during this stage of my life.
I got it. Okay.
Okay, keep going.
Here we go.
And the school must be subsidized by the local government. Let's say that the wizarding population in this area is made up entirely of Hogwarts grads. I know. Employee relocation programs at Beauxbatons and Durmstrang have probably landed wizards in this area, but I don't have those numbers. Also, let's say that the average
I know, you're like, I hear what you're thinking clearly.
Yes, not to worry.
Don't worry.
Employee relocation.
It's there. I had to cover it, or you'd have left it in the comments. It's what everyone would have said.
Right.
Yeah.
I also love that, like, I can tell that, like, an amount of time passed between those cuts.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't carry my cadence properly from, like,
right.
one to the...
Like you forgot.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Life expectancy of a witch or wizard is 78 years old, the same as the U.S. in 2012.
That's not true.
Well, that means that the average number of taxpayers in this part of the wizarding world can be figured out with the following calculations.
Oh, we're doing taxes!
I'm dying. I'm genuinely dying.
8, or the average life expectancy of a witch or wizard divided by 7, a Hogwarts generation, will give us 11.14, which tells us that at any given point in time, there are 11.14 Hogwarts generations living in the surrounding area.
There you go. Solid math.
What is this face?
Look at that face that we paused on. That's a real good... That should have been the thumbnail, for sure.
11.14 times the 280 students that make up a Hogwarts generation gives us 3,120 for the local population. You know, give or take. Needless to say, that's...
Give or take a few years.
You know.
that needed to be its own separate take.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Yeah, right. You know.
I wonder if I even wrote that, or if that was me, like, flying off the old cover.
Like, you know what? I'm gonna throw him a curveball here. Yeah.
Give or take some.
Give or take, you know. I didn't do that. Don't check me, you know. Like,
right,
I don't want to hear. You're like trying to hedge off the comments.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty small population, and Hogwarts is a pretty huge school, so they must be paying some pretty insane taxes. These calculations have forced me to wonder, are wizarding families just insanely small? Because one of the few families that we meet is the Weasleys, and they have like 7 children.
They have
similar to roughly you would look at it and be like, they have like 7 children.
It's the kind of delivery that you might give if talking about Harry Potter for a living, which, to be fair, we didn't do.
Right.
Wasn't like what you did. Like, the expectation was more like everybody kind of has peripheral knowledge of this stuff, right?
Right,
like,
yeah. We don't need to speak in concrete things. Like, if I recall, they've got like 7 kids.
Yeah, right.
From when I read it a long time ago. Right, yeah.
Not only as to why wizarding families seem so small, but also the point that I was trying to make with this video. Anyway, if Super Carlin Brothers viewers went to Hogwarts, this is what we would look like. We would be a very smart, lactose-intolerant, terrified group.
I can't digest lactose.
A very smart, lactose intolerant.
That is I think in that same video, she says, I can't digest lactose, or something like that. Oh my gosh. Very smart, lactose intolerant.
I just want to apologize to the lactose intolerant members of our community on that one.
Good job, guys. And anyway, Jay, that brings me to my question of the day. Evidently, you guys have all read the book, so which one was your favorite? And Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wow. Amazing. We made it through the first one.
We did.
How you feeling?
I mean, not great.
Not great?
I hate that I have 2 more of these to go.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be exciting.
Okay, I'll try to stop making so many comments about just like early production value.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. So Quidditch makes no sense.
Quidditch makes no sense.
This one has been. I hope this is okay because this one's been seen the most of any of these.
656,000 times.
I want to say the thumbnail for this though was one of my better ones where it was just a snitch and it says "snitch, please."
Oh man, we were so much less family friendly in those early days.
You know it. Okay, so right away, that Mario poster is like so nostalgic. That was supposed to clue in everyone that it was like Super Mario Brothers. It was like, I feel like not a lot of people made that connection. I thought we would talk more about video games early on, which we did not.
No, we didn't.
So we didn't, but there it was. It was back there. We signed that and gave it to somebody.
We did. I bet it's in someone's like closet.
It's
dusty and tucked away somewhere.
Exactly. And then I used to for every single video, I would go find new wallpaper for my desktop.
I think what I was doing back in those days was I had wallpaper that was changing all the time.
Oh.
And so it was like in between cuts, it would like jump between different screens.
That's hilarious.
I was like, oh, this will be great. Then people will know I snowboard.
Yeah. Well, in the last one, it was those stained glass windows the whole time.
There you go. Okay, so I was doing good.
You did it.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy, here we are. Here's my first one. Now I'm immediately more nervous.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hey, brother. Harry Potter Week continues, Ben, and for all you Hufflepuffs out there, I've got some very interesting findings.
You know what? I would love to say that we're apologizing for this, like we don't still do this.
It's true. We literally on tour have a joke about Hufflepuffs that we do on stage every
night. I think we made like a pancake joke like last week or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's from a Harry Potter musical. Hufflepuffs are excellent finders.
There you go.
Oh, the old intro. So good.
My findings indicate that the favorite book, after pooling all the answers from yesterday's video, is The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh.
I think this blew my mind back then.
I would agree. This is like one of those things where I feel like Prisoner has become a lot of people's like favorite movie.
Yeah.
Which I often even still find like a little bit shocking.
I mean,
there are some choices.
There are some, that the final ending screen where he like they freeze him in midair. It's about. I mean, to me, it's about as cringy as these videos.
There you go. There you go.
But whatever. It's all good.
Which is interesting because it's probably in my bottom two.
Oh wow! I don't know if that's still true. Would it be? I don't know how I would rank them right now. Bottom two. I'm sure we've recently ranked them.
I bet we have.
I'm sure that Deathly Hallows, Half-Blood Prince, and Goblet of Fire are my top three.
Yeah, that feels fair. Okay, I'm trying to think right off the cuff. I would say that Chamber is probably my last.
It's weirdly, it's probably Chamber and Stone are towards the bottom.
Yeah, but Stone has so much value because it's like. I
know. Yeah. The Chamber movie is amongst my favorite.
Now I'm curious. I'm like, what is the order? Because I feel like I would probably be like Goblet, Half-Blood, Deathly Hallows, Order, Stone.
So Prisoner is in your bottom two.
Yeah,
okay, so that's there. All right.
My personal favorite was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And Ben, I'd love to know what you thought of that book. What did you think of the Deathly Hallows, Ben?
I'm totally setting you up. This is what's happening. This is why your video is going to be called Harry Potter Confessions.
I love how close you got to the camera. It's like not only are you like trolling me for what tomorrow's episode's going to be, but you're also like doing what I was doing.
This is how close you were sitting for the whole video. Even when
Deathly Hallows, Ben, what did you think? What did you think of the Deathly Hallows? You know, one of my favorite.
Even here, though, I'm still pretty close.
It's true. It's true.
Closer than we sit now, anyway, which is about where we're sitting now, as you could tell. All right, anyway.
Harry Potter that wasn't really in the Deathly Hallows, though, Ben? Quidditch. I love when the books get
that was a good. I should have gotten closer to the camera there.
That's okay.
Been a better
Hey, you'll learn better for next time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quidditch game. I have noticed a few concerns in the many Quidditch games throughout the books, though. My first concern is there actually aren't that many Quidditch games. Let's do the math real quick. Gryffindor has to play Hufflepuff, play Ravenclaw, and lose to Slytherin, of course. Slytherin then has to crush Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff, and that means Ravenclaw just has to play Hufflepuff for a grand total of 6 games. The whole season is 6 games.
Close.
That means only 3 games per team. You'd think they'd at least play each other twice, right? I mean, why are they practicing for hours and hours every single week if they're only going to end up playing 3 games?
It's a fair point.
Also, it is a fair point, past me. Well done.
Well said.
I appreciate where you're coming from. Future you agrees with you.
Why does Harry, who has a lot of stock in the outcomes of the other games, never seem to go to any of the other games? When Gryffindor plays...
But for real.
But for real.
Harry is never... whenever Gryffindor is playing, the whole school is down there. But it's never like, well, Harry and Hermione had a great time watching the Slytherin Ravenclaw match.
Yeah, well, so, I was thinking about this earlier because we were talking about in a different episode how in Chamber of Secrets, there's like a month that just sort of gets like glossed over.
Yeah.
Like when Hermione is in the hospital wing being like half cat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, maybe he caught a game.
Maybe he did.
During that uneventful month.
Right? You know?
Seems like the whole school is out there. But you never hear about them going to the Hufflepuff Slytherin game.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't even know if I would call it a game, but you think it'd still be interesting.
I must have talked about being in Slytherin House. Recently, because I'm bringing it up a lot as if they are clearly the dominant house.
Yes, you absolutely are.
Yeah.
Yes, but also they would have Cedric Diggory, man.
They would have Cedric Diggory.
I mean, he's quite good.
That's true. They would for a while.
Slytherin. And does it bother anyone else that they come in muddy from these practices? Where is the mud coming from? Isn't the game up in the air? Why are they on the ground? That's not even getting...
But for real!
Why are they on the... It is a good point. It is good. I think it's just from walking to and from the pitch.
It's so annoying, though. Guys, fly the brooms back to the doorstep. You don't have to do that.
into the mechanics of the game.
The Wizarding World forgets it can do magic all the time.
Way too often.
Way too often.
Yeah.
Mechanics of the game. First, let's talk about bludgers. Now, I don't know if these are supposed to be more like softballs or something, but the way the book describes them and the way they're portrayed in the movies, it's more like they're like cannonballs or shot puts or something.
Gotta tell you, love my little Final Cut Express bludger animations.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty solid. Yeah.
You could have slowed them down a little bit. They're kind of zip zap zorping, but
that's all right. That's all bad.
And while I'm sure that's very exciting at a professional level, the fact is you could have potentially 11-year-old kids out there flying around with cannonballs. I mean, I think the lightest shot put is 8 pounds, but even if you got Mark McGuire out there on extra steroids with his biggest bat, I bet he couldn't move a moving shot put very far through the air with both hands. And yet we're supposed to believe that
the Mark McGuire pull, would that have been topical then?
I don't think so. People knew who he was. Sure, certainly.
Also, it would be topical then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I mean, sure. I mean, he was a big deal when we were growing up.
Yeah.
About the same time Harry Potter was coming out.
Did you go for a Got Milk ad?
I think I did,
Yeah, for the photo.
That was a really good one.
That's a good pull.
If you grew up reading Harry Potter, you knew about Mark McGuire and the Got Milk,
Sure.
13-year-old Weasley brothers can whip those bludgers around the entire Quidditch pitch with a one-handed wooden bat. Doesn't add up. Next, let's talk about brooms. Harry, I love you, but it is not fair for you to be flying around on that firebolt. I mean, people are out there on those clean sweeps. You have a clearly superior broom.
That's true.
I think this is true.
Will I mention footholds?
Oh, that's a great question, because in the modern era, you notoriously...
I don't like them.
You don't like them.
I don't like the footrests.
Something that we really thought was going to be like a more widely held opinion.
I know.
And it wasn't.
I was like, hold on. This is the softball. Let me get my Mark McGuire muscle. I'm about to knock this joke out of the park. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, thank you, Jay, for saying it loudly for us in the back. No one likes the footrests.
You spoke up for the little guy.
I spoke up for the little guy, but it turns out people do like them. It's like 50-50.
Right, yeah.
But the other 50% let me know about it.
Maybe we should do a poll and then we'll have a chart.
We can do a chart!
Yeah!
Do you like footrests on brooms?
Which gives you a clear advantage. And that's not, like, sportsmanlike at all.
No.
Shouldn't there be, like, a standard or a limitation on the broom you're able to use so that it's, like, a level playing field? To me, it seems like the same as using steroids or something. It's giving you a competitive...
I got a real...
Could you believe you brought up steroids twice?
I didn't... I brought up Mark McGuire and then steroids, okay?
Well, I mean, I understand, but this steroid reference is not related to that one.
I know.
Advantage, and the only competitive advantage you should be allowed to have in sports is just your natural ability. And why are they wearing robes?
Really should have said Mark at the end of that.
Oh,
then it would have made more sense.
It would have made more... Mark?
On the Quidditch pitch. How many times do we have to hear about how streamlined and aerodynamic and perfect each individual thistle on the broom is for the firebolt? And then they go out there and wear robes? Yeah, that's aerodynamic.
I love how you say it as if all we're ever told about the firebolt is it's perfectly attuned.
Yeah, that's
twigs.
Right. That's all.
I think they bring it up twice.
Yeah. And then in the movie, it's not. It looks like it got blown up.
Yeah, the Nimbus and the Firebolt designs are
backwards.
They're flipped.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And finally, let's talk about the snitch. As we all know, when the Seeker catches the snitch, he earns his team an extra 150 points and ends the game.
Sure.
Ends the game. That's the part that doesn't make sense. Why would you ever catch it if you weren't going to win the game? So you wouldn't lose by as much? That would make sense if the points mattered outside of the game, like if in the tournament bracket the amount of points you scored per game made a difference. But in that scenario, wins and losses would count for nothing. It would just be how many points you could score over the course of a season, right? Like imagine you lost every game 300 to 290 and the rest of the league is finishing games at like 200 to 180. That means you could lose every game with 290 points and potentially still be ahead of everyone points-wise. That means if the two bottom teams in the league were playing, they could just mutually agree to run the score up as high as they wanted to get back into first place, and it doesn't matter who wins then.
But you've really thought through cheating.
Yeah. Not just like collusion, you know?
Sure, yeah, collusion between other teams, and performance-enhancing drugs.
I mean, look, what I did back then to make these videos was I went to my job, my real job, which I didn't like doing, and I wanted to come home and do this, and I would be petrified all day that I wasn't going to have enough to say, because I'd have to get home from work, write the entire script, and then film it, edit it, and upload it all in the same day.
And I recall.
And I would spend all day half doing my job and half being like, what else? What else? What else? And then this is pretty much this is the end result. Yeah. So yeah.
How it works, and I guess that's just how it works. But it still doesn't explain Victor Mr. Crumb catching the frickin' snitch in the World Cup.
It doesn't.
At that point, your point total wouldn't matter anymore. This is the last game. The wins and losses do actually matter. So saying that your chasers are just never going to catch up to Ireland, who cares? You let them try as long as humanly possible. It's the frickin' World Cup.
Come on,
so
Crumb.
My question for you and everyone else is, what position would you play on the Quidditch field? Let me know down in the towel section.
Oh, am I wearing a Live Strong bracelet?
Look at you go.
Look at me go. This is what, 2012?
Talk about performance-enhancing drugs. I mean,
it was his own blood, Ben.
And I will see you in another life, brother.
Hey, that's still how we end the videos.
Okay.
All right.
You clearly had like a style guide from the beginning in a way that I'm not sure I did.
No, you did fine. You did fine. We'll get.
You think I'll start with a Hey Brother next time?
I think so. Yeah. All right. Here we go. We're gonna find out.
Y'all, we need to take a brief pause right there to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Here is the important bit. Mental health is important. I grew up thinking that therapy was something that only existed for severe situations. I even remember thinking in my first ever session that I was truly going through drastic measures to work through a problem. That the therapist might even think that I was just being dramatic compared to potentially much larger issues that can exist out there. But a lot has changed since then, and Jay and I have always tried to make it a point to share our experiences in therapy, to lower the barrier of entry and stigma and let people know that it can help. I have personally used BetterHelp and appreciated that it can be used remotely and help provide access to specific kinds of providers that aren't always available in your hometown. I have had loads of breakthroughs through years of work, but one of the biggest just is communication. Like, often if I was angry or frustrated with something, I would be too worried to let it out and potentially come across negatively, and just kept the feelings all deep inside. And this mental weight and burden was causing so much anxiety, but learning how to communicate even negative emotions can not only help others know what you're feeling, but lead to solutions and, more importantly, peace of mind. The truth is, we are all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/super to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/super. Link is in the description down below. Wow. Okay, so all I can see is the freeze frame before we proper get into today's episode, and yeah. I look like I just got home from like a prep school.
You would never wear a shirt like the one you're wearing in this video right now.
No.
I don't think so.
But I think back then I never would have worn a shirt like I'm wearing right now.
That's probably true too.
Yeah. I thought I was being bold when I bought this, and now I'm just sort of like, it's Friday.
It's just like a regular shirt, whatever. Okay, well, let's see what you're going to talk. Well, we know what you're going to talk about, I think.
I have a confession to make.
I remember loving having the intro because it would give me like 12 seconds of finished video.
Right? You're like, I'm this much closer to the 3-minute mark.
Yes, it's like I'm trying to make like 120 second long thing at minimum.
10%'s done.
Right. I'm already.
No problem.
Yeah.
Alright, so here's the deal. When I was a kid, I was way ahead of the Harry Potter curve. I read the first book way before it was popular and
I read it before it was popular. Oh, man.
What an HP hipster, man.
What an HP hipster. Okay.
You did it.
Yeah. It hurts to watch.
It's killed me. Well before the second book was even written. And Harry Potter, became my thing. Like, t-shirts, action figures, wall hangings, just about anything any relative got me for a birthday or Christmas when I was a kid had a lightning bolt on it. And I would blow through these books in extraordinary fashion.
I will say that this was true.
This is true.
I remember getting it, the year that it came out, and I was absolutely obsessed, and I never liked reading books, and then all of a sudden it was like I couldn't put it down.
Couldn't put it down. I mean, I remember because Dad would read them to us, and we did before the movies and stuff came out, they made Harry Potter action figures that were just based on book.
Yes.
And we have them here in the office somewhere.
They're somewhere.
They're somewhere.
They're around these parts.
They're around here, yeah.
I would just read them over and over again. Not only just when a new book was about to come out, but I would literally finish what...
The other thing I think that is very key about this is that this would have been a period of time in my life. I have since come to know that lots of people had this relationship with the Harry Potter series. I don't think back then I knew the extent, because we weren't so fully enraptured with it.
No, I know. And we were in a it was, the internet wasn't as big as big then either.
Right.
It was harder to find the communities in which people were really into Harry Potter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Finish whatever the most recent book was, and then start right back up with The Boy Who Lived.
I can't believe, I feel like I'm not very articulate.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like my words are almost coming out like in a
like a blobby,
fashion. You know?
I don't know.
And as I got older, I had a much less Potter-clad bedroom, but I would still go to all the midnight releases of the books and all the midnight showings of the movies.
We sure would.
We did do this.
We did do that.
I think it was Goblet of Fire was when they like first came out with like the tattoos, like the lightning bolt tattoos you could like put on your forehead.
Did you do that?
I mean, it was awesome.
We're right there.
Where else are you supposed to put it?
That's
where Harry's is.
Anywhere else is the wrong spot, right? Yeah.
And then something unusual happened. Deathly Hallows, the last book of the series, came out. I went and got it, and I did not finish.
How dare you!
I remember...
Opposure!
That's a good point. I remember being very confused. I think, like, maybe by this point in time, I had stopped rereading Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince.
They started being a lot thicker.
A lot thicker, and I felt like the lore was getting, like, a bit, like, deeper in a way that, like, I was maybe just, like, less attuned to at the time.
Yeah.
So now, like, where it's, like, some of my favorite reads,
yeah.
I remember back then being, like, Horcruxes, Hallows,
what a lot of words.
It's like, I don't remember what happened in the last one. I don't want to go back and read those to read this. Like,
right. A lot of work.
Who needs it?
How's this going to affect the rest of my life? Really?
It's not like I'm going to talk about it for a living.
Oh, young Ben.
Have you stopped throwing the pitchforks yet? No idea how or why this ended up happening, but I'll tell you that I am still extremely weird about it. If I'm ever around a group of people and they start talking about the 7th book, I'm just kind of like, la 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 la, I haven't read it yet. Which is just not acceptable.
You know how people do.
You know how people do. I can't tell you how often we'd be at a restaurant and Ben would be like, excuse me, la 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 la.
What I think happened was I read the 5th book and it was long and Harry was pissed and I was just getting frustrated. And I think that this started to slow down my momentum, and then I read the 6th book, which was actually really good, but all of a sudden there were all these characters and I had kind of lost that enthusiasm.
It's the exact same explanation you just gave. Huh. You know, maybe you remember this more than you thought.
Over again before reading this one, so I felt like all the time I was stopping and trying to figure out who someone was. Then I started reading Deathly Hallows, and this phenomenon just sort of carried over, and I kind of didn't want to ruin anything about the book for myself, but I didn't really feel like I was taking it into its fullest. And so now it's been years since the book was released. Both movies have come out, and I still haven't fully recovered.
Although, you do feel like the way you're talking is like very like restrained or something.
I mean, I think it's like you just can't emphasize enough how badly I didn't want to be sitting in that chair back then. Like, I really didn't want to.
It all worked out.
We got
Now you've read the book.
Now I've read the book.
Yeah.
Week, I think it may just be the motivation I need to start them back up again. So today I know this is kind of a short, topicless video, but I really didn't feel like I could just casually be like, yeah, I didn't read the 7th book. But then my explanation was just long enough to where there's not really enough time for me to talk about anything else.
I love how you're like, you know what I used to love? How 12 seconds were taken up and you're like, the good news is I'm pretty sure I've talked enough where it's done.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm out of time. It's really like, I would say more, but
however, you know what? That's it.
Time is time.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Oh man, that's so funny.
But alas, I do have a question of the day for you. If you were allowed one spell in just one spell, what would it be? Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
What would your one spell be?
I mean, Osseo seems pretty useful.
It does. It's just that's probably the most day-to-day useful thing.
Yeah. I mean, like being able to like summon things at you wouldn't be so bad. I mean, like, as much as you'd love it to be like Expecto Patronum, it's like how often are you running into Dementors? Unless it works on depression.
Unless it works on genuine depression, in which case, it's pretty good.
And then it'd be like, my duck, my Patronus duck.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you stay with me all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. You come out here, I'm going to wake up every morning, I cast the duck, and then I'm just in a good mood all day.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound so bad.
No.
Okay. All right. I could be into that.
All right.
And then people be like, what's that giant horse following you? And I'd be like, it's my spirit animal, dude. It's my Patronus. It makes me happy.
It makes me happy.
You don't make him mad, because I will make him charge at you.
I mean, he just feels like a warm cloud.
Feels like a warm cloud, but it's gonna look like it's gonna feel worse.
That's right. You know what just occurred to me? What if, like, 20 years from now, we react to this video reacting to those videos?
Oh, reaction videos.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stacked on stacked on stacked.
Man, 2040 is gonna be wild.
Yeah. Can I just say?
Yeah.
You just look like you.
I just look like me?
Like.
What do you mean? I don't have a mustache.
Sans mustache,
and I'm wearing black glasses. So, not that much.
I think you look the same.
You think I look the same?
I think you look the same.
I feel like, is this the angle I was at early on? I guess it was. It looks different. Maybe it's because it's flipped in the teleprompter.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah, here we go.
Harry Potter 7. You may have noticed I asked you about it 3 times yesterday, Ben. It's almost like I knew, Ben, like I was using legitimacy on you. I guess you're not very good at practicing occlumency. Guess you're not practicing your occlumency very well, but that's okay, Ben. Thanks for trying to.
I love how I didn't pronounce it differently any time.
You just
kept saying it.
You're like, Quidditch. Right. It's like, you said it the same way every time.
I know. You should have been like occlumency. Occlumency? Yeah. Anyway, that would have been a better joke.
Yeah.
I like how I had I like how I referenced back as if, ha ha, ha ha. Did you see what I did?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Answer my question, and totally ignoring my Quidditch question, and house question. What house are you in, Ben? It seems like you're avoiding the answer.
Yeah, Ben. Drop the deets.
Apparently that hasn't changed.
I know, yeah. Here we are.
Don't worry, though, Ben. I won't spoil anything in Book 7 for you, except, spoiler alert, Harry dies. JK. Rowling wrote in a book once.
Oh.
Never. No, but seriously. Seriously? No, seriously. Dobby kills Voldemort. I'm sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to say that. What I meant to say was, Dobby kills he who must not be named. Not really. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, I do know, because I've read the book, which is how I can tell you. Dudley fights in the battle for Hogwarts. There's a battle for Hogwarts? Yes, it's where Dumbledore comes back to life. Dumbledore comes back to life? You know what? Maybe you should just read the book. 5 years.
I think this is pretty good.
I'm just riveted. I'm having fun. How do I subscribe to this guy?
Yeah, come on, this is great. I'm sweating so much.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Later. Anyway, what would my one spell be, Ben? Probably Wingardium Leviosa. Or is it Leviosa? Leviosa.
I'm doing this joke again.
God, what if you said it wrong and just ruined the whole thing? But I would definitely cast it on myself, because then I could fly. Or at least float harmlessly for a couple of seconds. Don't mock my spell. Better than what you would choose, Ben. Probably just some dumb disillusionment charm. I don't even need a disillusionment charm.
I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm all over the place.
I know. I feel like I'm like in an alley and you're like up in my face being like your stupid disillusionment charm idea.
I feel like this whole video is just like, let me just berate Ben. There was a much more conversational aspect to it. A much more, like, older brotherness to it.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
You just put on my invisibility cloak. See, look, I'm actually floating right now. Seriously, I'm floating right now. You just can't tell because I'm wearing an invisibility cloak. Seriously, though, Ben. Seriously? No, seriously. Flying is way better than invisibility, Ben. God, what a dumb choice. You really need to think about your spell choices a little harder before you make them, I think. Flying totally maybe helps Harry in the final battle when he fights against Zombie Dumbledore and Super Snape. Seriously. Anyway, Ben, normally I wouldn't.
I don't even.
I'm just like, here's things I'm maybe spoilering for you.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Yeah,
Zombie Dumbledore and Super Snape.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah. You know, the end of Harry Potter.
The books take a weird turn there at the end.
They do, he comes back. Dumbledore's back.
And then Iron Man arrives.
Right? It was good. I am Iron Man.
Stand for this kind of not reading Harry Potterness, but I'm gonna let it slide this time, Ben. You know why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I had my train to
God.
And my.
Are you singing Albuquerque by Weird Al?
Oh, we so much.
We have sang that song this week.
I know. Some things never change.
Cause I had my tray table up and my seat back in the full upright position.
Oh, now I'm going to have to listen to myself sing it. It's so much worse listening to it from 12 years ago.
Yeah. Sit back in the full. Oh, no, not Weird Al week. Still Harry Potter week. All right. But Ben, I will for you.
Definitely me trying to set up a different thing.
A different Weird Al week. And you were hoping everybody would be like, Weird Al week,
Weird Al week would be like, good, now we can just do ideas.
This was us being like, wow, Harry Potter week worked. Let's do
it. Yeah. Bloop.
I'm fishing.
Here we go.
Preview this time because it's your birthday!
Oh, it's your birthday!
Right now is Ben's birthday. Right here in this video, you should go leave comments and say happy birthday, Ben, because it's Ben's birthday right now. Happy birthday, brother.
I really did a thing where I would repeat myself a lot of times.
Yeah. I wonder why.
I don't know.
Was
I don't
that
know
like a
why I
style guide
would
you
do
were
that.
picking up
Why
from?
would I do that? I don't know.
You don't know why you would.
I don't know why I would.
I don't know why you would do that.
Half giant break down your door and give you a squashed cake. In addition to everyone wishing Ben a happy birthday down in the towel section, please answer the question of the day, which is, which do you think is better, invisibility or flight? Happy birthday, and I'll see you in another life, brother.
Definitely flight.
Seriously.
You know what? That was, you know.
It was a video.
It was a video. I don't think I said anything.
Well, I mean, it was titled Seriously.
It was Seriously, and I made that joke about you know, it worked. It worked.
It's almost got 500,000 views.
It does almost have 500,000 views. Maybe we can push it over, guys.
I know.
We can make it happen.
All we need is 2,000 of you to go and
do
watch
it.
it. We'll
Come
link
on.
it down below.
Do it. Seriously.
From books to films. This is going to be our final video of the day that we're going to be reacting to. It only has 18,000 views.
18,000 views.
Yeah,
Didn't catch as much traction, this one.
Not quite as much.
Probably because it didn't say, like, Harry Potter from books to films.
All I can think is that I'm going to make the point that I don't think the movies are that great.
Are you going to suggest they make a TV show?
I think I'm going to suggest they make a TV show.
That's hilarious.
Yes, I think it's coming. That would be my guess for this particular episode.
Is your computer background supposed to be platform 9 3/4?
It is a brick wall.
A brick wall,
yeah.
or is it the entrance to Diagon Alley?
Oh, it would be entrance to Diagon Alley.
Okay.
You're right.
The question is, will we go an entire week with Harry Potter themed videos? Okay, so I've got to go flight over invisibility, Jay. Although I've got to say, some of the comments yesterday were pretty convincing reasons to go invisibility. Which brings me to a new segment, the comment of the day.
Hey!
Comment of the day is something that may or may not happen daily, just depending on the prior day's crop of comments. Yes, to all of you people listening in on me and Jonathan's comment.
Love that was, I feel like that was Ben being like, here's 10 more seconds of words I can say.
Here's things that are coming out of my face, and probably also I know that back in the day we viewed the number of comments per episode as like the standard as to whether or not like an episode did well.
Right.
And so I think this was definitely like a big time like encourage people to participate type of thing.
Yes, yeah. Get those comments going.
Conversation. This is an incentive for witty comments. The next winner is from the Risky Brothers, who made the all-too-true point that you cannot fly into a girl's locker room. I for real laughed out loud.
Wow, that's so creepy.
That is very, yeah.
Just, okay.
Yeah, we'll move right
That
on.
was your first comment of the day.
So, yep. I'm gonna go for it. Harry Potter Week will be a 5-day affair. Jay, whenever a really good book turns into a movie, you always have that fear that they're gonna make the movie really bad. And in some cases, I think the Harry Potter movies were excellent, and in some cases, I think they were a little lackluster. So here's just a few thoughts that I had from the movie.
What's crazy is that you're not reading, like obviously we did this forever, but now we use the teleprompter to do the scripts way faster, but back then and very recently we would just read the script and memorize it and be like, to camera.
Yes, Hogwarts and Charts, SuperCarlinBrothers, 86,000 views 12 years ago.
Memorize that.
Hogwarts and Charts, SuperCarlinBrothers, 86,000 views 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I got
it right! Yeah.
I don't know why I was British for that bit.
Yeah, I wonder how much it would have helped early on if we weren't having to say things you just memorized.
I think that would have helped.
Might have helped.
In the first movie, I pictured Hogwarts correctly. I feel like the movies grew up with the initial audience. The Dumbledore used in the first movie is exactly how I pictured him. I did not picture Cho Chang correctly. I did not picture Fleur Delacour correctly. I never thought that Dumbledore was cheery and lighthearted enough. I hated that they didn't show the Quidditch World Cup. I did not pronounce Hermione correctly. Hermione. I'm not sure I pictured Ginny.
That was a good one. Hermione.
It would have been funny if I was off to the other side or something.
I like how you're not there's not comparisons. It's just I didn't like this. I thought wrong. Blah. Blah.
They were not well-reasoned arguments.
It wasn't I didn't picture Cho Chang correctly. I pictured her this way.
I'm almost glad I stopped talking completely and did not put that out into the world.
Sure. As a bad example, yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, okay.
Incorrectly, but I don't think that the character was developed correctly. Where was Peeves the Poltergeist? I am very okay with the fact that they left out Spew. Sirius Black, Neville, and Hagrid.
What's hilarious is like they don't put SPEW into the movies, but now when we're like doing through the Gryffindor, like as you've grown up and you're like look back on it, you're like, Hermione is so right about this.
Oh, she is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like for the longest time it was almost like SPEW was something that like the characters were supposed to hate, but you, the reader, were supposed to think was like funny,
right,
or correct. But I think my interpretation of it was like Harry hates SPEW, Ron hates SPEW, we all hate SPEW.
Right.
And it's like, I don't think that was ever really like the common take.
No, Hermione's just right, and that's that.
That's that.
Dead on. The night bus scene was weird.
The night bus scene was weird.
It was a choice. Ben. It was a choice. Yeah. The
take it away, Ian!
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
What's the shrunken head doing in there, man?
Right.
Why were there no blast-ended Scroots?
Why?
The Weasley twins were hilarious. And not just a movie thing, but I felt like the only spell Harry ever used was Expelliarmus. And all in all, Jay, I think that the movies were not as good as the books, but that's kind of...
I think that's something that, like, that, like, in the modern era, I'm like, I get why Harry uses Expelliarmus as, like, his specific spell, but I feel like my gripe back then was, like, I wanted to see him do more different stuff. Like, I wanted to see him become, like, fluent in magic to the point where it was, like, watching, like even, like, the early scenes with, like, Newt Scamander where he just, like, does, like, a lot
of magic.
Yeah. But instead it's, like, he learns Expelliarmus in Chamber of Secrets, and then it's, like, he continues to, like, sort of have that be his signature spell, but it also matches his personality of non-violence.
It's like, you want to see him, like, be some crazy, like, superhero wizard doing all these intense things. Like, that's what, like, young teenage you wants. And then it's like, when you read it as an adult, you're like, this makes sense, you know? Harry doesn't need to be casting a million different spells. He doesn't want to be fighting at all.
No extra fluff.
Yeah.
What you come to expect anyway. So those were my thoughts, but for my question of the day, I want to know what your thoughts are. What did you like and or dislike about the conversion of the books to movies? And it's a short video to round off Harry Potter Week J, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday yesterday and everybody all week who has been diligently commenting on our Harry Potter videos. And Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I'll see you on Monday.
Woo! We did it, Ben. We survived.
I don't know what was harder, doing it back then or doing this now.
Doing this now?
Yeah. That was. Ooh.
Yeah.
Gosh,
it was great.
It's like I can remember so much about what the experience was like. You know, like how, like going into.
Did it bring you back?
It brought me back in a way I didn't want to go back to. I could smell that basement.
I guarantee we could make the video. We just watched that in like I don't know, like 2.5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
I guarantee we could make that video today and make it 15 minutes long.
Oh, guaranteed.
Guaranteed we could do it.
Yeah. Everything the movies got right.
Yeah.
Or got wrong. Or yeah.
In fact, we might have.
I'm certain that we have.
Yeah. Certainly. All right.
Well, thank you guys as always. Jay, I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, and I'll see you in another life, brother. Seriously.